Hi people, it's Archivist here and welcome to my final video on the Call of Duty Modern Warfare beta. Looking back at these videos, I don't think I've made this many consecutive videos in such a short space of time on one topic, and that's kind of crazy because the game isn't even out yet, but it shows how much I've enjoyed this particular beta. I don't usually play pre-release games, I tend to wait until it actually comes out, but when they announced a new engine was being used for this game, I was so curious to see how does it play. Has it gotten worse? Is this a failed experiment? And there are definitely some areas where I think there's still room for improvement, but on the whole, I have to commend them for doing something different, from taking the DNA of Call of Duty, completely reworking it, but at the same time maintaining the principles. It's still a fast-paced first-person shooter, so if you're a COD fan, you should like it, but it is breathing new life into it. But in a sort of final review, these are the main pluses for me. I like the new engine, the fact that it revitalizes the experience. I like the feel of the guns and the sounds of the guns. I like the kill streaks. I think the lineup is really solid. We haven't seen them all yet, but of the ones we've seen, I really like them, especially the chopper gunner. I really like the fact you can do a lot of control with it, and on ground war, you can absolutely go to town on other players with it. I mean, I felt downright guilty sometimes using the chopper gunner on ground war. Also another positive is the fact that crossplay seems to work absolutely flawlessly. I can't say I've had any issues with crossplay whatsoever, and it's meant that I've got into games exceptionally quickly. If I was to talk about negatives, I'm gonna have to actually revise an opinion I gave last weekend. So I was initially on the side of minimap being left out of the game because I felt it changed things up enough. But I have to be real, playing Domination particularly, there have been too many games where I've just been looking for people for like 30 seconds to a minute, and I don't enjoy that. If I'm playing Domination on a small map, I want to be constantly having firefights with people, and it feels like the only way to achieve that in this game is to be running around the map. But if you do that without being able to know where your enemies are, you're just opening yourself up to being shot. So I kind of want them to go back to using the old minimap system of fire exposing your position on the minimap, because I want to be able to know where am I supposed to be in any given moment. However, if they decide to leave it as it is with this compromised minimap where it has a little bit of both worlds, I can live with it. But for me, I can only talk about myself as a player. I want to have the old minimap back. There are some modes, however, like the smallest mode, 2v2, where not having a minimap really adds this sense of tension. There, I don't think it should be there. It certainly shouldn't be there in hardcore or realism, but I suppose the more typical game modes like Team Deathmatch and Domination, I think it probably is worth that. I mean, I'm not even necessarily complaining about people camping. I just want to know, where are my enemies? How do I fight them? What angle do I approach for? Because sometimes I go for a map and I'm just like, I'm rolling the dice. I'm playing Russian roulette here. I don't know where they are. They could be on the left, they could be right in front of me. How do I know how to position myself? I don't think it makes the game any more difficult. I think it just makes it more random. But as I put down my controller after finishing the beta and knowing I'm probably not going to play any more games of this, I did have a sobering moment, because something I talked about before any of this, before the alpha, before the beta, was that we must not forget supply drops, right? Supply drops, or whatever, reserves they called them in Black Ops 4, they did make that game into a joke. Like, I liked Black Ops 4 at first quite a bit. I didn't really play Zombies or Blackout, but I really liked the multiplayer. In fact, when it came out, I remember saying to myself, this is the most balanced Call of Duty I have ever played, and I even quite liked the higher time to kill. It was a game that I really liked. But then, I think it's when they released the Stingray, which had this operator mod, which was pretty much like a less than a second death in a game where most guns took much longer to kill. I felt like it just completely broke the game. Everyone who used that gun had a massive advantage, and it only takes one gun being way above the rest to completely break the balance of the game. And when that gun is tied to a loot box, which you can get through paying with real money, all competitive aspects of the game are off the table. You have ruined your multiplayer, and I just can't believe that they won't do the same thing in this game, because they know it makes money. Because when it comes down to it, say they've really got you, they've really enticed you into the game, and you're really enjoying it and you don't want it to stop, even if you thought at first, I'm not going to go for it, I'm not going to spend the money to get it, you might find yourself thinking, look, if I just drop £20, $20 and I can get this, and then I can have a good experience, you might find yourself doing it, because that is exactly what these practices prey on. And I don't want to forget that in all my fun in the beta, because it's just not reasonable to come off of Black Ops 4 and have all of that crap happen and then just forget about it in the face of this game. Even if the mechanics are so good, even if it's so promising, even if the campaign looks so enticing, so interesting, you can't forget the past, especially when it's barely like even a few months old. You have to remember that. And I think that should really factor into the, whether or not you decide to pre-order the game, because do you want to run the risk of after a month, after 2 months or 3 months, them dropping a game-breaking, a balance-breaking aspect into the multiplayer that means it's just not truly fair anymore? Do you want to risk that? So yeah, that is something to consider, and we shouldn't forget that no matter how fun the beta was. And I suppose at this point, I wonder if they'll show any more of the campaign. I wouldn't mind if they don't, because I would like to experience the story myself. And also, if it's anything like old Call of Duty campaigns, it won't be very long. So if they show 20 minutes of the campaign, that's a fairly significant portion of the overall experience. And Spec Ops, we really haven't seen anything of Spec Ops, and I have to wonder, with so little time between now and the release, will they spend this final stretch really talking about what Spec Ops is about? And I have to say, I'm really actually thinking, will I enjoy Spec Ops the most? Because I really like the mechanics of this game, the graphics, the way it looks, the way it sounds, but sometimes the prickly nature of the competitive element means I can't truly enjoy them, and I'm too focused on just trying to win. But in a single player Spec Ops mode, it gives you that breathing room to just enjoy and embrace the game as a whole. So there's a part of me thinking, will I spend the most time on Spec Ops in Call of Duty Modern Warfare? Maybe I will. And hopefully it will be less, I suppose, susceptible to be balance broken by microtransactions. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if microtransactions exist in Spec Ops, but I feel as if their ability to break the game might be less. So yeah, those are my final thoughts on the Call of Duty Modern Warfare beta, and well as the release as a whole. Yeah, there you go, my final thoughts. As always, people, thanks very much for watching, and see you next time.